Good morning to those of you who are watching. The title of the talk this morning, and I'm throwing these things out just for your consideration. Some of this will be somewhat familiar to you, but I'll tell you in a minute why I'm bringing it up. The title is Keeping Your Focus on the Light. We have a lot of negativity around us nowadays. And I just had to, I'm old enough now, I dare to do things from the lectern or podium that I wouldn't do when I was a younger minister. And I want to talk about negativity today, but how it's a fact in this world, but how we cannot let it control us. And we're just going over some of the things to help us focus on the light in the midst of the negativity that's on the news, maybe in our lives, you name it. I'm sure you can come up. I almost wish this was a workshop this morning where we could all participate and talk about our feelings and our thoughts and our experiences, because it's good to talk about them so we get better understanding of what's happening and how we can make a difference. We can't make a difference for this world unless we're making a difference for ourselves. Okay, everybody with me? You ready? Okay. I start out with Charles Fillmore quote, which is not always the easiest to understand, but we're going to talk about the law of attraction today, how to use the law of attraction to help us negate negativity. Mr. Fillmore says, the law that all conditions and circumstances is the law that all conditions and circumstances in affairs and body are attracted to us to accord with the thoughts we hold steadily in consciousness. Now, all he's saying is like attracts like, that we're thinking. Our thoughts are attracting. Each thought is a thing, and it has a vibration, all right? And we can send out different vibrations with the thoughts that we think, not just our spoken word. It doesn't have to be heard. Okay, we know that we can hurt people's feelings by something we say, or we can lift someone up by something we say, but also our thoughts. People can sense, we can sense where someone is in their feelings or thoughts or what they're going through before they even say a word. It's vibrations, okay? That's one of the ways. So another thing you might think is thoughts that we hold in our mind will produce, right? Like we can say it that way. And the thoughts that you hold a lot in your mind, you produce more of that thought, you know. That's why unity teaches watch what you're thinking, you know, and then how to adjust to it. But I'm going over some of this stuff because we hear it all the time. We're hearing those thoughts come in through the news, you know. Well, I'm going to help you find what's right for you when you hear all this stuff, how you can fight back. You do not have to pick it up the way it's given to us all the time. It's your decision. So we'll be going over just some ways to help you in finding ways to fight the negativity and bring the positive response that we need in this world. Okay, that's my intent anyway. Now, where'd this come from, this law of attraction? The clearest scriptures we have is from Jeremiah 31, 33, 34. Now, this is God talking to Jeremiah. And he says, even God, earlier on in this chapter, God was saying, even though you Israelites, you broke my first covenant, you know, with the golden calf and that story. He says, I'm going to make a new covenant. And he says, I will put my laws within them, within his chosen, within the, at that time it was the Israelites, but it's all of us now. I will put my laws within them. I will write it on their hearts. I will be their God. It's our God. And they shall be my people. No longer shall they teach one another or say to each other, know the Lord, for they shall all know me. We all know God within now. From the least of us to the greatest, however God judges that. For I will forgive their iniquities and I will remember their sins no more. That's where this law of attraction comes from. We are given the power to change things within us for the highest and best, as you see fit. Okay, it's not what I see. A lot of the things that we talk about are our opinions of things. But when you try to align with God's law within each of our beings, align our individuality with the Christ within each of us, we're going to get a wonderful spectrum of ways to live and move and have our being with each other. A lot of times when we're trying to fight things, you think of anti-war rallies, or anti-hunger rallies, anti-ICE rallies, anti-gun laws. Why not peace rallies, abundance rallies, human harmony rallies, safety rallies? I mean, Mother Teresa once said, somebody had invited her to an anti-war rally, and she says, no, I won't go. She says, but if you do a peace rally, I'll come. She knew about this. So stop and look what you're receiving, and you can send out what you'd like to see in the world. Okay, y'all coming with me now? Okay, because some of this is hairy. Okay, where are we? There is the one gift that we forget that we have, that as far as we know, no other creation on earth has this gift, and that's the power. We're given the power to change our minds. We're given the power to turn the energy around. We're given the power to change by thinking, changing our thoughts, and then acting, whether it's speaking or some kind of activity. We can change what we're receiving or seeing that we think is detrimental to our species, to the earth, to just quality of living. That is a gift. What if we couldn't change? We just had to go with the flow of what people are throwing out. But the gift is to be able to change things for real, because it's part of the law written in us. It's part of God's law. He loves us that much to give us the power to change our world for the good and to bring more God into this world. Hoping doesn't do it. We have to practice and do it. I'm still practicing. I've been, when I first ran across this law of, I hate to tell you how the law of attraction was a long time ago. I was starting college in the early 60s, and there was Napoleon Hill wrote a book on, let me find it here, Think and Grow Rich. Has anybody ever heard of that book? Okay. Mm-hmm. has a lot of good principles in it. And it was using this power you have to think and grow rich. Be successful in this world, that kind of thing. And many times when we talk about this law of attraction, it's for getting things that we want in our life. And truly, that is a major part, and we can use it for that. There's nothing wrong with programming. We call it programming, with it for us. It's not for God. It's trying to align ourselves with the laws so that we can bring into our lives the things we think we need. He doesn't say don't do it, He, she, it. Sorry. But the other book that's out that's been very popular on this was The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. Has a little bit more of the spirituality approach, of course. But when I first read that book, it sounded interesting. It sounded, oh, well, I can do that. But I already had so many negative messages by that time, and no foundation or a group to work with to. That's before I came into Unity. I didn't know about Unity in the 60s. And so it just went by the wayside. That's just a possibility, Don't know how to work it. All these messages would come in, that it would defeat me before I'd really get started. So it sort of went by the wayside. This law did not affect me until I had joined Unity, had been in Unity in the mid-'70s for about 6 months, and my husband died. And of course we talked about the law of attraction in Unity, and we talked about many laws. And one of the laws that just didn't seem right is the law of, our divine order. How could this be right? We had a almost 3-year-old, and we had been pretty happy, but he died. And so I went to our minister then, it was Charles Roth in Indianapolis, and I said, explain to me divine order. I don't see the good here. I don't see how this is going to work. And he says, Barbara, you're looking through the donut hole. I said, what? You're looking through the donut hole. And he said, there's good all around this in many forms, but you're looking through the hole right now. Give yourself time. He gave me a lot of good advice then. So I didn't give up on divine order. I just waited and let the normal healing occur. And I can't live without divine order now. Okay, so there are ways of using this that sometimes when we're using the power of attraction, that we look through the donut hole. We don't see how it's working. Right? Keep on keeping on. If you need to be redirected, Spirit will direct you. Spirit will redirect you as to where you are to go. Do not give up. You cannot fail if you don't give up. Keep on, keep on. Now, let's see where I am. There are many things we can do: prayer, meditation, watching your thoughts, breathing, using affirmations and denials. When you notice a negative thought in you, do you look deep to see where they're coming from? Or what they're built on? What message is it sending that to you? What memories are sending that to you? Maybe it's something a good denial would work. You could use to help you. So it doesn't limit you. The only thing we want limiting us is Spirit directing us, guiding us, right? We are that free if we work the principles. Charles Fillmore also says, Divine law is orderly, working out of the being, out of us and God. The divine leads into expression and manifests through creation. Man, by keeping the laws of right thought, work in perfect harmony with divine law. You'll feel that. You'll feel when, no matter what, you know how sometimes in your life things have bothered you, but you've been doing some work through the years, and then the same thing can happen to you and it doesn't bother you much. You just say, oh, well, so what? You know, you're growing. You're starting to work more with the divine laws that are burned into us. And it's going to help us through. Divine law cannot be broken. It holds man responsible for our results. It is revealed to the mind of man through consciously thinking on spiritual ideas. Don't give up. Keep reading. Keep trying to work the laws. Not just try, work the laws and keep going. Okay. Moses. Again, I always go back to my source, the Bible, to justify my work. Moses taught the children of Israel affirmations and not denials. But he mainly used the denials. Don't do this, don't do that. If you read some of the Old Testament, and especially the first 5 books. Affirmations were brought in by Jesus. Affirmations and love he taught mainly. Instead of saying something like, I am not afraid, instead say, or you can say, I am afraid, but you're trying to use your positives, oh, I'm not afraid. But say, I am bold, I am fearless, I am courageous. Or let's say, oh, I just don't have enough money to pay all the bills this month. Oh, I hope no more bills are coming in. I'm not afraid of them, which is a form of fear. Well, how it's going to be. Let's say, I am prosperous. I have all the supply I need. God is the source. And I will trust to be directed. Do you see how you can, there's degrees of using this law. Say it as bold as you can. Now add feeling to it. Don't, I am fearless. I am bold. I am fearless. I am bold. Even in your prayer work, you can get some energy behind it. When do you think God wants you dancing and jiving with something that just fills your heart with joy and overflowing? This universe, this world, does too. It needs that. It needs that. There are many ways of doing it, and I know I have a whole list of them, but I'm going to read something that I discovered doing this. It came this morning. I knew something was a little not complete when I did my talk, went on my notes last night. But this morning it said, Barbara, go to the Beatitudes. Because we talk about Jesus and doing affirmations. Now we know, do unto others that you'd have them do unto you, We understand that one. Listen to the Beatitudes now in the light of how to change your thinking in line with divine law. Here we go. Blessed are the poor in spirit. That is a denial, right? Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. You're cleaning out to be filled. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. It's also recognizing where they are. But because you are aligning with Spirit, you will be comforted and healed. Okay. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. When you're empty, you will be filled. When you're empty of spirit or trying, do you see how that's working with law? With the law that's in us, with some of the tools we have here on earth? Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Oh, you're on the path now. We're starting into affirmations. For they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. We can live in that space by doing what we think is right to the best of our ability. Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and under all kinds of evil against you on my account, on your spiritual nature. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. For in the same way, they persecuted those who came before us. You lose nothing. When you can do your best at staying in line with what's written in our hearts, using what tools we have, all the many tools we have, music, we know denial and affirmations, I gotta quit. But if you want more ideas, see me afterwards. But don't give up. Keep trying. Put your feelings in there and believe in your goals. Believe in your goals. I thank you all. Thank you.